Welcome back to Show Me the Money Rugby League TV, and we have another edition of Ins and Outs. And
this one has to go on. This one has to go.
Just realised what.
You can tell I've just come from on sun. Look at me.
Listen, there's a Bradford lad, and there's a Donny lad. Shorts on, t-shirt. Not a problem.
I've just come back from on sun. Look at me. But yeah, welcome to Ins and Outs. A bit of a jokey, funny start, but we'll leave it on. But yeah, we're going to focus on Hull Kingston Rovers in 2023. So we're going to do the ins and outs, the players that have come in and the players that have gone out. Obviously, Tony Smith has left.
Yeah.
He's crossed the divide.
Yeah, controversially.
I forget the name of the bridge in Hull, but it links east and west, and they actually do have a little speaker on it, and it does play that sort of Darth Vader stormtrooper music, that da 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 da. And I didn't believe this, but I did actually cross the bridge and one Saturday night out in Hull, and it's playing this stormtrooper music.
Really?
And I'm like, is it that? Is East and West Hull that bad? And I'm like, what? I'm crossing the bridge and it's going da 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 da. I'm like, oh,
that's good crap. Though.
I think someone had placed a speaker and it was this clearly intended as a bit of fun, but to me, I'm like, what? But yeah, Joe, give us the ins and outs at Hull Kingston Rovers. Where do you think they're going to be? By and large, 2022, I'll be honest, I'm going to give them a D. I thought they're largely underachieved. We all know what they did in COVID times, getting to that semi-final against the Catalan Dragons and pushing them all the way in Perpignan, ultimately a game too far, but they had that great playoff win against Warrington. They've got a lot of young ex-Bradford kids in there that's now starting to shine. Elliot Minchella, Ethan Ryan, Rowan Milnes, Matty Staunton. Those four are going to play a huge part in the success of Hull Kingston Rovers for many years to come. And I'll say this now, and I don't want to turn this into a Bradford thing, but you know, that's the best bit of business ever in the history of rugby league, what Neil Hudgell did in getting those young players for that price, because they are going to be so integral to the success of that club. Craig's nodding in agreement. But Joe, give us the ins and outs.
Obviously, I think should we cover the coaching changes obviously at the end? I think that'd probably be best. We can overview of that. But we'll start with the outs, Mick. They've got rid of, I'd say that apart from one, I'd say the big overview of this one is getting rid of a lot of the age.
Yeah.
So they've got rid of and also 3 Australians. So I'll start off with Albert Vete.
Yeah.
He's left, obviously, very injury-riddled season last year, didn't he? I think he only
played brilliant towards end though.
Yeah, he played brilliant at the very end. So I think that's what's earned him a new contract at Castleford Tigers. You've got Corbin Sims, who has retired from the sport but played a bit in the World Cup. If you watched, it was nice to see him, but I think he is retired. And then you've got Brad Takairangi, who I believe hasn't been announced the club yet, but I think he is looking. I've heard a couple. You hear him in rumour talks, don't you, quite often?
Yeah.
I think you've just broke a.
No, I got told he has been training with Featherstone.
Oh, has he?
It was spotted on one of the pictures that someone put out.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit of that.
It was on Facebook, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's an exclusive.
And it'd be a very good signing for Featherstone, Brad Takairangi.
So you've got Brad Takairangi possibly going Featherstone. You've got Ben Crooks, who's gone to Keighley, and then you've got Will Maher, who's gone to Halifax. A show me boy himself. So I'd say the big overview there is you've got Albert Vete, Corbin Sims, and Takairangi, all 3 quota spots. All probably, if we're being harsh, last year maybe would admit this themselves, probably didn't have the best of years. I don't think anyone would. I don't think them lads, I think it'd be brave of them lads to say, no, I had a very good year. Obviously injuries did make a big difference. And they're all over the age of 31, which I think's a big...
No, Will's not.
No, the 3, I'm talking about the Australians. The 3 Australians are all over 31, so I think they're actually getting rid of 3 quota spots plus 3 aging older players. So you probably, to be honest, it depends what we'll obviously go into what they've replaced them with, but you'd probably say good bit of business moving them on. Ben Crooks, you've got Ben Crooks, been a Super League player for years, and he's been a servant to the game for many years. He's gone to Keighley under Rhys Lovegrove. I think Ben, obviously everyone everyone speaks highly to. I followed him on Twitter. He's into his crypto. I think he's probably one of them like Bish that it seems like he's got other stuff in his life now, so it probably suits him being a bit more part-time anyway. So probably a good bit of business if he is concentrating on other stuff going on his Twitter. It's rarely about rugby, it's more about crypto, about all these other areas. And then finally, Big Will. What would you say about Big Will? Obviously, Dad, what would you...
It's probably time for Will to take another challenge on. He'd done very well. I thought he deserved it. He'd done enough to get another year. But ultimately, Will's going to start something else in his life alongside his rugby. He's got, I think he'll have Smith in there that if he wanted to go back to Super League, he could. But do I think Will from 18 to achieve 100 plus Super League games, done unbelievable, still only 26-year-old, 27, can come back, do what he wants to do. So I think Halifax have got a very good player, but ultimately, probably time. I thought time. He probably played a lot more games at KR than he thought he would. In a way, I think Will thought he should be in it every week, but Will played a lot of games. He had to give very good value for money, but it was time, I think, for both parties to move on.
So yeah, I'd say really. So that's 5 players gone, and then we can
Yeah. Moving on to the players that have come in. Obviously, more than 5 of them have been announced.
Yeah, you've got Thomas Opacic, who's a centre, so that's obviously in Takairangi / Ben Crooks' role. At centre, he was at Parramatta. If you watched any of the end of the season for Parramatta into their grand final run, he actually played quite a big role. I think once it clicked that this lad is coming to KR, and he finished the season like a house on fire, to be fair to him. I don't know how much you lads watched the Parramatta run at the end, but he played very well.
How do you pronounce his name?
Is that incredibly wrong?
Opacic.
I apologise.
That's all good.
Opacic. You never correct him, Nick.
I do. He says Salford all the time. I'm saying Salford.
You've got Thomas Opacic, yeah, and he finished. I think obviously he took the fact that he's had to probably leave Parramatta as a challenge, and that's what you want to see, to be honest.
He's got a knock at the minute, and he's recovering from the knock.
Yeah. Also, I think is that Rhys Kennedy.
Yeah.
Rhys Kennedy is also.
I know all KR have signed, and a couple have still got the knocks. They're on that rehabilitation. So that's a
centre, obviously, like you said, probably replacing Brad Takairangi as the starting centre there. I think that's what they see him as, one of the stars going into the upcoming season. You've got Rhys Kennedy, who's 27 years old. He's a prop. He was at the Brisbane Broncos. I think he's coming to prove himself and have a brilliant year. Like I said, only 27. At points, I've done a bit of research on it. At points, he has been highly rated. I just don't think it's ever come together for him. I don't know if you know any more, but I just don't think it's ever come together. So he's probably coming here going, no, I want to show everyone what I am and what I'm capable of. You've got Jesse Sue, also his proper name is Sauaso. That's my best attempt. He's 30-year-old, a bit older, so obviously they've tried to go away from this, but he was with Willie Peters at Newcastle Knights, so that's a Willie signing. Willie's obviously saw something in this lad, maybe his leadership qualities, his play that goes, no, Super League will fit Jesse Sue really well, so hopefully that works out. That's probably one where he might get judged more on that signing, because that's obviously his signing in particular, coming from the same club. You've got James Batchelor at Wakey. Obviously, know how good of a season he has. All the pre-season reports are saying how good he's been playing. Dad, I believe everyone's
massive raps on him.
Some of the lads we look after, the younger lads, are saying, "Oh, he's leading the way. He's the example at the club." So brilliant. You've got Lewis Senior, Dad.
I thought he was great. I thought he had a fantastic World Cup. Still only 22, 23-year-old, 6'5", has come to play. They've got some great backs. Listen, that back line, and I've heard this off somebody at the club. I think it might have been Paul, but I think they've done all the fitness testing, and apart from one player, everybody's beat the testing from the previous years, regardless of age. So the levels look like they've gone up a lot.
Yeah, the fitness. Yeah.
And I think a lot of them have done it. I think Willie's massive on the fitness and the S&C. So I think, listen, any player with that development in like Lewis will get better and better and better. I think it's a massive loss for Huddersfield, but I get it. I think either him or his brother stayed.
Yeah.
Even though, It's interesting with squad numbers. I'm looking down there at your list so far, and you're looking at squad numbers, and people, and we'll do a little bit on this. People ask how much different squad number thing is. Most coaches, most CEOs, Mick will know this, and you, Joe. They say, "Oh, it don't matter. You know, it's all about your attitude. It's all about your application." But as said historically from players, it does matter.
Yeah,
it does. It absolutely. And sometimes they said, "Don't look too much into your number." And they'll use one player who's played 20 games last season who played in numbers 26. They'll use one. Coaches cop out by saying, "Oh, look at this last year. He played 22 games and he wasn't bothered." But other 25 players are bothered. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of lads on that list who secretly were thinking, "I hope I get this squad number and I've got that." And that. So I think there's a lot of people now will be looking at where they are, looking at the squad number and thinking, "I'm not a guaranteed starter here." That should make you more determined to get in that side foot thing. Now, you're 3 weeks away from the friendly starting. These are all the trial games. The business end's going to start. A lot of these players...
You've got 2 more signings.
Looking at KR so far, and Joe's got another 2, you've got 7 players who have been brought into the club, probably 6 of them to play regular. Yeah. Well, that don't fit the Suns guys.
No, it doesn't.
They've only lost 4, and 2 of them weren't playing regular. So there's going to be some pissed off players come February. Go on, Joe, carry on.
Yeah, so another player that probably in that same position played a lot for Salford at the end of the season, Salford, yeah, sorry, Mick, yeah, again. Salford at the end of the season, the Geordie himself, he scored at Magic Weekend, put his hand up, the old Aaron Shearer, Sam Luckley. Like I said, he's probably one of them. He's probably one of them, isn't he? That's in that same position where he'll probably have to be fighting for a squad place there. Obviously, KR took a chance on me. He showed a lot of positive things at the end of last season, so hopefully he'll be a brilliant squad player. And then they brought another young lad in, Yusuf Aydin from Wakefield. I think a lot of people were shocked that they let Yusuf go.
Massive raps on him at Wakey, so I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, so he's a young player who's going to come rising up. He'll probably be wanting to play. Like you said, I think they're not. I think the issue here is they've replaced Corbin, Sims, Vete, and Will 3 props, and they've got 3 props in. So it'd be the back line. It'd be the back line that they've got Lewis Senior, they've got Tom Opacic, and obviously. No, that's it. Yeah, that's the 2.
It's not that. It's against what you've got. So you've got. We'll go through the team, and this is our job to give it.
Well, look at the wingers already. You've got Ethan Ryan, CD. You know, it's going to be out.
Well, Ryan Hall.
Yeah.
Then you could then go centres Kenny Dowell,
Opacic.
You obviously carry. I think Lewis Senior could play either.
Yeah.
But then you've got the young lads pushing. You've got 2 Connor Barley, Darnell Bias. Yep. You've got Jimmy Kinehorst who could play either role. You've got Will Tate, who potentially will think he's got a chance of playing this year a lot of games. Will Tate, last 5 games last year, one of the best players they had at centre. So you've got all that pressure of probably making Ulkar a better team and more options than previous years. I'm looking down there and I'm looking at, you've got Coots, who has to have a big year.
Yes.
I don't think he's lived up to the
hype. No
chance.
Not the hype that saw him leave.
The Saints grand final winner, top fullback,
yeah.
And I think he's gone there. And I thought at times last year were great. Times he looked average. Times he were injured a lot and fatigue, whatever. Needs a big year. Probably for Ulkar to finish in top 4, he has to have a big year.
Yes.
Your cover there is who actually has always done well when he played his Will Dagger. Has been outstanding every time he's got a chance. I think Will's probably got to say to Coots, it's time for you to go and probably challenge him. I think if Will really wants to, he played half 3 or 4 games and they like him as a running half, but I think he's got to make that number 1 his own, and I think he's got here's one for you on Will. If he doesn't move Coots over this year, Will might have to move on, because historically, how long does Will want to be a squad member for? I'm playing 5 or 6 times a year when you've got injuries. I think it's time we challenged him and said, here we go. Yeah. I think outside backs, Kenny Dowell, listen, I've had me ups and downs, but what an attitude, what a bloke, What an absolute thing. The money was on. I was a bit like, oh no, how do you live up to that money if you're not the best centre in comp? He's probably been one of the best centres in comp 5 or 6 years. For the last 2 years, and a slow start, fantastic. My favourite player, Keighley. Now he's got Batchelor. He's got Lewis Johnson. He's got with Missile that Staunton can play back row. There's another one. They've got probably another 1 or 2 in there. So they've got cover in back row. For me, you've got your 2 hookers, Jez and Parcell. Yeah, as good as anybody in comp.
That speaks for itself.
As good as anybody in comp. And this is the exciting bit for me. You look at the props this year. Joe's just mentioned.
There's Tom Opacic, obviously Jesse Sue, Sam Luckley probably looking.
George King will lead the line. You will have backed up by Matty Staunton if he plays in that position. Backed up by the young men that they've got coming in again. They've got these young players. Elliot Minicello, you've got to fight. You know, you're looking at Elliot in there.
Lovely ball playing loose.
You've got the arse, Rowan Mills, Mikey Lewis, Jordan Abdul. 3 don't go into 2. That's the battle. That's the battle. So there's battles everywhere, isn't there? And we missed some players out. I wish we'd have got the full squad. I know there's 4 or 5 more in that squad.
To get it up.
Yeah, if you can, I think we've missed out. We're in. I think Hull KR are 10 to 12 points better than last year.
Right.
So if you put them 10 or 12 points more from last year,
puts them in the top 4.
They're in the top 4, and I'm sticking by it. I think they'll finish in the top 4. And I think Hull KR, if they believe, here's one for you. If Hull KR believe in themselves and believe what's happening at the club and the players, one thing you can't get, do you know what you can't get at KR? Consistency. You can't. For the last 3 years, you cannot get consistency, high-level performances. They play 2 good games, beat a Saints, beat a Leeds, and then they drop 3 points against bottom 4. They've got to get that level of consistency.
Yeah, what do you want me to go through the squad numbers?
Please, yeah.
Well, all 32.
Well,
so obviously
pick the ones we haven't got. Well, for the first.
Yes, I'll go through the first 13 that they've got going on squad numbers.
You've got the 17.
You've got
ultimately that's 17. That's the strongest 17 historically.
So number 1, you've got Lachlan Coote playing fullback. You've got Ethan Ryan, the two shirt. Tom Opacic as the opposite on the centre. Sean Kenny Dowell's the opposite centre. Ryan Hall retains his place as number 5. You've got, I think they've given it Roger Millward. They've retired the number 6 for Roger Millward. So I think if you go on the closest, so Mikey Lewis is 20, Rowan Mills is 21, so they've kept them 2 quite close. But you've got Jordan Abdul given the number 7 shirt. You've got Jesse So, the number 8 starting prop. You've got Matt Parcell, number 9. GK George King, number 10. Frankie Holton, 11.
Frankie Holton, I knew it. I knew they were. Sorry, apologies, Frankie. Back row, one of the best back rowers in comp last year, along with the other 3 back rowers.
And then you've got 12, Kane Lynette, the other back rower. And then to have your 13, you've got Elliot Minicello as your 13. Number 14 as your classic, I think. Jez Litton, very Melbourne style, 9, 14 in it, interchanging with speed.
Got Parcells done well to keep that 9 away from him.
15, you've got Rhys Kennedy, the back, so he'll be the bench prop. James Batchelor, number 16. Matty Staunton, number 17.
So there you go. That's your
wow.
Yeah,
that's a strong squad, isn't it?
If you keep then.
And then
you've got
Mikey, so if you go,
you've got the Mikey
so you've got 18 Jimmy Kinehorst, you've got 19 Will Dagger, 2021 Mikey Rowan. So obviously one of them would have took the 6 shirt. If not, you've got Dean Adley at number 22. You've got
Dean Adley, oh my God, that's the other one. Dino, still one of the best. Yeah. Unbelievably can play back row, prop, or 13.
Lewis Senior, 23. Sam Wood, 24. Lewis Johnson, 25. Sam Luckley, 26. Yusuf Aydin, 27. Will Tate, 28. PLT, Phoenix Low Tulgay, 29. 30, Greg Richards, 31. Zach Fishwick, 32. Connor Barley.
It were Dean Adley and Frankie who I were thinking of in my head, thinking they've got 2 there who could play at least 3 positions. Listen, I'm top 4, guys. I'll make it quick. I'm top 4. If they can get a level of consistency and they can get this belief of being able to put games together, win boring. You don't have to win throwing ball about all over, offloading all over. Actually grind some games out. Make the game about your defence and your fitness. KR can challenge for the top 2, first time in the history of Super League.
Wow, big call.
Mick, do you want to go next or me?
I'll be brutally honest, it's going to come down to fitness. If you keep them fit in them spine positions, and I'm fascinated to see how the Abdul Lewis, Abdul Milnes,
combination.
You putting Jordan before them two?
Yes.
Well, he's been given the number 7.
Yeah, I'm sure. I didn't know that. You see, I didn't know that.
Historically, and I'd love to. I don't think the head coach will ever say anything otherwise. That 17 is your strongest 17.
Yeah.
So like Ethan Ryan has gone there. He's had to bide his time, but he's now took over from Ben Crooks and he's got that.
Yeah, but Mikey and Rowan at 21 and 22, so that doesn't, on that.
No, because the number 6 shirt's been retired for Roger Miller.
So if he'd have had to put the 6 in, who would he have put?
Well, based on traditional number 6, I'm not saying on talent or anything, but on being a number 6, you'd say Mikey, because Mikey you'd say he's a 5'8" to number 6 type
at 7,
player.
I'd have thought 7.
Mikey Lewis, a 7.
Yeah, I'd have put Rowan at 6 myself.
I'd have put Rowan at 6, yeah.
Why is that?
I just think little scrum half, Rob Burrow, the 7s, the little scrum half, the usually cheeky Alalangers. So very much in that mode where Mike is. He's an old-fashioned.
The future is Mikey and Rowan in the halves, no, undoubtedly. But you've still got Jordan Abdul with that experience, and he can make or break.
Abdul's only 26, 27, I think. He's actually younger than I think most people think because he's been around the sport.
Listen, I'm at George King's wedding on Friday, and I think he's pivotal to that club.
Yes,
I think if George can play consistently at a hard level,
leadership qualities,
and lead that pack.
Yeah.
They've just got to put 4 or 5 games together, Mick. They never played the same game. If you watch LKR, you watch them and they'll throw ball everywhere and they'll offload here and they'll make breaks, then they'll concede easy tries. They don't get in the grind. His challenge this year is to get LKR in the grind. Off the field, they're flying. They've got a chance to be a top 4 club, and I wish
you've put them in top 4. I'll be honest, I'm going to say top 8.
Yeah.
Well,
comfortably top 8.
Well, I think
they will be there or thereabouts come playoff time.
I've got what's
not
the,
good enough.
what's,
Not good enough.
What's the playoffs?
You don't think that's good enough?
No chance. Where the club are
top
going?
6, mate. It's top 6 in it. The playoffs.
You don't think getting?
No, I think that'd be shocking, disappointing.
Well, OKR reaching the playoffs is not.
Yeah, I think they need to be better than that. Wow. I think they finished it last 4.
Think the bar's been set that
behind
high?
a squad that were nowhere near as good as that. That squad's 10 times better.
High?
Yeah, 100%.
I've got them finishing.
I've got them top 8 playoffs.
Don't be mad at me, KR. Sorry, lads.
I'm gonna tell you the truth.
I've got them finishing 5th. I've got Saints. I've got Saints. Well, just compared to what the way Dad's built
I've got them finishing between 8th and 4th.
Yeah, I've got them 5th.
I just don't have them in that.
I've got Leeds. I've got Leeds ahead. I've got Saints ahead. I've got Wigan ahead. And I've got Huddersfield ahead. I think they're competing for that 5th, 6th spot.
No Catalans?
With Catalans.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're there. I think that's the competitive. On that squad alone, they should be competing for Catalans for that 5th, 6th spot. And that's not including Salford, who nearly made the final last year, had a fantastic season. They've actually signed a few, so I don't know.
Enjoy defending. They've got to enjoy defending.
So, yeah, I've got them 5th. I think it'd be, like you said, if they reach the playoffs, maybe have it like the year before they did, where they have a good playoff win or 2, and this build. The issue is some teams get stuck in this building phase, don't they? Because if you're always building, you're never succeeding. So I think you've got to have a point where you go, this is the year. But I don't know if this is the year or next year will be the year, but probably in the next 2 years, with the money they've spent, the team, the talent they've got, the young players they've brought in, they probably in the next 2 years have got to do what Dad's saying, haven't they, to be fair? Because they can't always be a rebuilding team because it just don't work. It's pointless.
Listen, the team that got to the thing in Corbin, that got to the semi-final, last year disappointing. I'm telling you now, point for point, that team's 10, 12 points better than that. Overall,
but
the cover they've got, they've always struggled when they've lost to Dean Adley.
That was such a big. But
when they lost Dean Adley, were massive for them. They never think. When they lost George King, they usually. I think they've got to get enough now with Batchelor, with all these. When Frankie was his second year, these are all got 50, 60 games now. These no excuses now. Jez Litton should be saying, "I'm the best hooker in the comp." That's it. That's where his level should be. George King should be saying, I want to be best prop in comp. Do you know what I mean? Ethan Ryan should be saying, I want to become one of the top wingers in the comp. There's no more waiting no more. There's no more waiting for them. They've got to do, and historically, the overseas players have not been great from the last 5 years. They've only had Kenny and Lynette, but the other ones, the big money. If you look at the three that have left, Vete, Sims and Tagger, it's nearly 550 grand, 500 grand's worth of cap, which they've replaced. Willie Peters has been in Australia for 10 years coaching. If he don't get these signings right, Willie has to go. Willie's been in 10 years watching these. These should be best signings they've had, because they're Willie's choices. He's sat over there and gone to KR, go and get him, go and get him, and go and get him. Willie'll get this right. If he gets this right, they're a top 4 club. Simple.
Well, there we go. We all agree. UKR will be there or thereabouts in the playoffs. Craig's got them top 4. Joe's got them fighting for Catalans for 5th. I'm going to say 8th or 4th. I've gone for a little bit more conservative. But either way, good times are coming to Craven Park and Wilkinson Rovers in 2023.